Welcome to the Gospel Road. We're going to look at Hebrews 12. It's been a couple weeks, I know. I had a busy weekend last weekend. Drake relays, so I was doing announcing and playing music for that. And getting some sun. Talk about a peeling week. Weather's great, but you always forget about the sunburns and looking for protection, the tents and all that stuff to stay out of the sun. But, what happens. All right, here we go. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great clouds of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured for sinners such hostility against himself, so that you may not grow weary or faint-hearted. If you, in your struggle against sin, you have yet resisted the point of shedding your blood, and you have forgotten the extortion that addresses you as sons. My son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor be weary when reproved by him. For the Lord disciples the ones he loves, and chastises every son whom he receives. It is for discipline that you have to endure. God is treating you as sons, for what son is there whom his father does not discipline? If you are left without discipline in which all have participated, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Besides this, we have had earthly fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them. Shall we not much more be subject to the Father of spirits and live? For they discipline us for a short time, as it has seemed best to them. But he disciplines us for our good, that we may share his holiness. For the moment all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Therefore, lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees, and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. Strive for peace with everyone, and for the holiness without which no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it may become defiled. That no one is sexually immoral or unholy like Esau, who sold his birthright for a single meal. For you know that afterward we have desired to inherit the blessings. He was rejected, for he found no chance to repent, though he sought it with tears. For you have not come to what may be touched, blazing fire and darkness and gloom and a tempest, and the sound of the trumpet, and a voice whose words made the hearers beg that no further messages be spoken to them. For they have not endured the order that was given. If even a beast touches the mountain, it shall be stoned. Indeed, so terrifying was the sight that Moses said, I tremble with fear. But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and the innumerable angels in festal gathering, and the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to spirits of righteousness made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. See that you do not refuse him who is speaking, for if they do not escape when they refuse him who warned them on earth, much less will we escape if we reject him who warns from heaven. At that time his voice shook the earth, but now he has promised, yet once more I will shake not only the earth but also the heavens. This phrase, yet once more, indicates the removal of things that are shaken, that is, things that have been made, in order that the things that cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, and thus let us offer to God acceptable worship and reverence and awe, For our God is a consuming fire. Again, Hebrews 12 is what we're looking at today. Opening up, Jesus, the founder, perfecter of our faith, and not growing weary. I mean, we're all in that race, and we are doing this together, and it can be hard. It says, do not grow weary or faint-hearted. Even talking about discipline. And sometimes that's something that's really hard. It's interesting because I know I've even dealt with this in the past couple weeks. And discipline can also, just using the criticism. Not just God's discipline, but not just the discipline of our parents, but the discipline that we deal with when we are at work, when we're talking to our managers, when our supervisors, or they're trying to help you be stronger, be better, being better at what you're doing. And really trying to move that forward as you're trying to get things done. Again, it's us working together as you're trying to get things done, as you're trying to really encourage and build one another up to be the best that they can be. Even talking about, working together, how we need to be able to strive for peace with everyone. Isn't that interesting that, we hear so many times about living in harmony and striving for peace and really helping each other out, but so many times you have a very hard way of looking where people are not willing to do that. They would rather sit there and really kind of be against you or see what they can to stir up with you rather than figuring out a way to get along with you. And we've said it before. I was the exact same way for years, always being the one almost wanting to cause a fight. And that's not the way to live. I mean, it really created a lot of strife for me and even made it hard to, have friends and have conversations with people because people end up getting to the point where they do not really want to talk to you. It was interesting. I saw a post earlier today. It says leaders that are not willing to listen will end up having no one to listen to. You're listening for ideas. You're listening for things to really work together, to collaborate, to make something better. But when you're not willing to listen, you end up losing that collaboration to do something to the best of your ability when you're trying to put something together. Now, again, working together, being one. And when you're working in business, when you're working as a family, I mean, it's really trying to be that one, that single unit that is doing the best that it can be. And it's helping each other out, not pushing them away, not figuring out how it is that you can just kind of knock them down and not causing them to be bitter. It's not easy. I'll admit it, because we all have different personalities and we have to figure out how to work around that. And like I said, I've been having some conversations with a few people over the past few weeks, and some very open for the criticism. Some they don't always take that criticism very well. And of course, you're trying to help them do the best that they can to sound better, to be better, to really reach out to do the best that they can be, so they can get to that next level. We all get that. I get that still. And there's days that I'm good at listening and taking that criticism, and there's days that I'm not. But also, I'll be honest, I'm not always the best at taking the compliments either. I almost just want to just go, I'm over here, I'm doing my thing, just let me be, and we're not going to worry about it. How are we working together? How are we participating together to make it the best that it can be? And I guess that's one of the things that I'm kind of used to doing, just because of what I'm doing, the career path that I've chosen, because it's all of us really working together to be the best that we can throughout the shifts that we have throughout the day. I mean, it's one thing working in radio, because everybody has their role to play. Even like in a business, everyone has their role to play, but it's making sure that those roles can come together and they're doing what it is that they can to do what it is that needs to be done for the company, to help that company be successful, to help your family be successful, being there for one another, trying to get things to be taken care of, to do what it is that needs to be done. And through that, you have the discipline, you have the criticism, you also have the building up, the encouraging, the lifting up of one another to help them be where it is that next step is, to be able to do that, but do it in love, which is not always the easiest way, because a lot of times we forget we can sit there and really criticize, but forget to share the positive things. You're always giving the negative, but not always the good things that they've done. And making sure that they are seeing that. Because again, when you keep hearing the negative so much, it really does. It makes you grow very weary. It makes it very hard to endure that race. It's the same thing, me running, and you're trying to do a 5K, or even friends of mine that have done half marathons or 10Ks. You're running, and if your mind keeps thinking negative as you're doing that running, as you're getting to the end, it gets harder and harder to finish. You just want to give up. But that's not where we need to be. We can't give up. We need to keep messing and keep pushing forward to be the best, to really strive to do the best that we can. And helping each other to do that. Again, being at peace with one another, working with each other, striving for that peace with everyone to help them do the best that they can be. And again, I know a lot of people that not always are in that peaceful mindset. Like I said, they have the way that they do it, and they just kind of really focus on that. And not always the best way of doing things. They say you can, catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Remember that? Or bees, or whatever it was. I can't remember them all. Oh, no. Hebrews 12, that's what we're looking at today. And read it. What does it say to you when you go through that, and where you are as you're taking that next step in your life? How does it help you? How does it encourage you to keep moving forward? Again, I know where I am, and I know what I'm trying to do to be the best that I can be, to help others be the best that they can, to really build them up, to really encourage and lift them up. I know I need that. I still need it so much on a daily basis. Do the best that you can. I know this one probably seemed a little choppy. If I wasn't able to do it at Caribou this morning, I was doing some other work catching up, so I'm like, I'll do it at the radio station. Of course, then I won't have the echo chamber that I usually have in the in the conference room there. And well, all of a sudden, this seems to be a busy day. Usually, it's not when I'm here trying to get some things done, but what happens. I appreciate everyone listening. I get surprised every time when I look at my podcast every week, when I'm sharing this with others, the people that listen. I appreciate that, and it really means a lot to me. And I just thank you for listening. And I'm hoping that it really helps you, as sharing this helps me as I am moving on and trying to be the best I can be for me, and to help others be the best that they can. But Hebrews 12, as I always say, read it for yourself. And it doesn't matter what you believe or what you think, read it. There are some very good pieces that you can always pull out of here, because it helps you be the person that the best person, the best coworker, the best manager, the best supervisor, the best parent, the best grandparent, whatever it is that you're trying to be better at. There are great pieces in here to really learn to understand how to treat one another, and how we need to understand what it is that they're doing and we need to be doing for them, helping them. And as they succeed, we succeed, I succeed. And I see that when others are doing better, and it really shows me how I am doing better as well. Hebrews 12, read that. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.